What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Get tips on personal growth, self-development coming at you as soon as I can possibly do them, all the time, as much as I possibly can. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about one of the things that we're actually never trained on in school, and I think it's one of the most important things that anybody can learn, and that is how to handle a conflict. Legitimately, how to handle when somebody gets upset and there's a confliction, there's people are conflicting back and forth, how to actually handle that. Because a lot of times what happens is most human beings, they get into a conflict with somebody and they start to get afraid. It's why we run away from confrontation, because we don't know what to do, so we've never had practice in it, and human beings don't really like it, right? So these are some great steps on how you can actually be able to resolve a conflict and be able to have a conflict resolution scenario. So I want to explain first, before I go into this, about a story I had very quickly. So back when I was working in the restaurant industry, COVID started happening, and there was mass mandates. There was a challenging time where only 6 people could sit at a certain booth. We were just starting to reopen the restaurants again. And it was a very challenging time. A lot of people were not understanding, but there was rules that we didn't know what the right rules were. We didn't know, but we had to follow the guidelines, right? Me being the managing partner, had to follow the guidelines, had to reinforce the guidelines. And there was a gentleman who was very upset that his family of 7 could not sit all together. I agree, it was a stupid rule, but at that time we had to split like 4 and 3. That's what we had to do. We had to do it. We couldn't seat more. At that point, we couldn't seat more than 4 people. And then at 6 is eventually like that. But this gentleman was very upset to the point that he was yelling at me. He was screaming at me. "This is ridiculous. I can't believe this. This is stupid. I've been with my family all day and you want me to split?" Yelling at me in front of everybody in the restaurant. Except there wasn't that many people because we were all social distancing. So there's a positive there. But really, what happened is I used a technique that I tend to use, and this is exactly the technique that I used, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did. So the first thing I did is I listened. So that's the first thing you want to do. When somebody's angry and they're upset, listen to why they are upset. Don't just immediately go back after them, but listen to them and hear exactly what they're saying. Most people just want to be heard. They're frustrated. They just need to get out whatever it is. So saying, "Talk to me, what happened?" and just get them to pour everything out. They will kind of waste their energy out when they start to do this. They might be going crazy, right? That's okay. Let them. Continue to let them. Second thing is agree when necessary and apologize. So don't combat it. Even if the person's wrong, don't combat them. Find areas where you can agree. "Wow, yeah, I definitely agree. That can be very challenging. Wow, I definitely agree. That can be extremely frustrating," right? Acknowledge and agree that they are frustrated, that they're feeling challenged. Agree with them. The reasoning why is, even if they're completely 100% wrong, you want to acknowledge how they're feeling, and you want to find some sort of agreement, because an agreement gets into my third step, and that's you find common ground. When human beings have commonalities together, their energy's better, they're flowing together, they understand each other better. The challenge with all this is if somebody just automatically disagrees and says, "Well, that's not the case," it's just going to exasperate the situation. So find common ground as quick as you can. So that gets in my third step, is find common ground. So you want to be able to find something that you can agree on. John Maxwell says this thing that it's called the 101% rule. Find 1% you agree on and give it 100%. So to me, what that means is you want to find common ground. You want to be able to make sure that no matter what it is, you're actually able to agree on something. And if you can, try and make the villain something else. So for instance, in this situation, right? I agreed with the gentleman that I thought it was ridiculous. I said, "I agree. I agree. You've been with your family all day, and now we got to split you up. I agree. It is ridiculous. I apologize that these are the rules and they have to be that way, but they have to be that way." And then we found common ground. I said, "Listen," he was still being angry. He was still being, very frustrated and yelling at me and yelling in the restaurant. And I said, "Listen, hey, I agree. If you and I want to call the governor together and tell him this is unacceptable, let's go do it, because I agree with you. Stupid. But I got to hold the rules. I got to hold them into place. And until the governor says otherwise, man, I mean, that's what we're gonna have to do for right now. I apologize, but until then, unfortunately I have to, keep these rules in force. And he understood, because automatically the villain was no longer myself. The villain was no longer him. I didn't make him look bad. The villain was now, the governor, right? The villain was somebody else. We found common ground on that. And this brings me to my fourth point, and that is talk quietly. Talk quietly. Do not match their energy when they're yelling. Talk quietly, because eventually it will come down to your energy too as well. If you start automatically yelling at them, what's going to happen is they're just going to match the energy with your energy, and it'll get louder and louder. I've seen situations, you've seen arguments happen like that, haven't you? Where somebody starts yelling back, and then they start yelling louder because they're matching their energy or trying to over-dominate their energy. Talk quietly and consistently talk quietly. And I'm not saying like whisper. I'm saying talk quietly, so they have to listen to you, right? They have to listen, and you're not being loud. And another thing is especially if you're in a public scenario like I was, if I'm talking quietly and someone's yelling at me and I continue to talk quietly, who's in control of the conversation? That person's yelling and losing their cool, but I'm keeping my cool. I'm not getting upset. So I have control over the situation by keeping quiet. And in a conflict resolution, you keep quiet, you talk quiet in a calm, even manner to where they can hear you, but in a calm, even manner. You're not raising your voice. You will control the point of conversation. And last is, don't seek revenge, seek resolution. Seek to resolute the situation. Make sure that you're actually looking to find something that you can solve the situation with. And make sure you're solving whatever it is that they're saying, whatever it is they're doing. You can actually seeking a resolution. Hey, I apologize for this. Let's get this fixed. Let's get this sorted out. Whatever it was in my situation, it was like, listen, what I can do is I can put you 4 over here and I can put your 3 family over there, so you guys can look at each other. And you know what? Why don't I get you guys some free chips or a free appetizer, right? So I solved the situation. I found as much as I possibly could within my power at the time. So always don't seek revenge. The guy was very rude to me, by the way. I'm not taking myself out of the situation. I can see the situation, see his understanding of the situation. However, he was very rude. He swore at me. It got to the point where I was thinking, should I kick this guy out? It was almost getting to that point. But I didn't seek revenge and say, listen here, mother effer, let me tell you something about your face. I didn't say anything like that. We resolved the situation. He actually apologized later, which is, human beings are good people, man. Most human beings are. He apologized later. He said, hey man, I know it's not your fault. And I said, yeah, dude, this is crazy. We're living in crazy times. We're all frustrated, man. It's okay. I understand why you feel that way too as well. So listen, these are the things. Number 1, you got to listen. Number 2, agree and apologize. Number 3, find common ground. Number 4, talk quietly. And number 5, don't seek revenge, seek resolution. I hope these tips were valuable to you. If you found anything else that you thought was valuable with this, please share, please like, please comment. It's how we can get these videos in front of more people, so people can be helped and they can actually grow themselves. Because I got these self-growth tips, man, I learned them through trial and error, and I'm posting them so you don't have to learn these things too as well. Am I not perfect? No, but together we are learning. We're learning together and we're getting better because we're growing together. So once again, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and you, my friends, no idea how powerful you are.